Hey, thanks for checking out the Route 56 recap. This week we talked about wandering and Joshua Conquers. We did it as a discussion group, more than me just talking from the front and then them doing small groups. Let's see. First, a little bit of background. What I wanted to set them up for before we got into a real discussion was just where the Israelites were at this time. They were right on the cusp of receiving God's promise. They'd been going through the desert for about a year, and in that time had seen a lot of miracles, Red Sea parting, plagues, these things. And they'd also had a promise, the promise of the promised land, which was their destination. So what happens, they get to the promised land, they don't go in. They send scouts to scout it out, which they're supposed to do, but instead of just scouting, they start assessing the situation and deciding if they should go in. Just really not what they were called to do at that moment. But the discussion from this was thinking, okay, this is what the Israelites did. What was their reason? Like, how come, even though they'd seen God do all these great things, even though they had this promised land that they totally agreed was awesome, why wouldn't they just step forward in faith and accept that? And that was where I wanted the kids to get going in a discussion. And one of the best answers came from Addison, and he just started talking about that they just didn't trust God. They didn't really, when it came down to it, believe that he was going to take care of them. And I think that that's very, very straight to where we live, and just not really believing in God's character, saying, oh yeah, we know these things about God, but when it comes down to it, can we trust him with our lives every day? So that was one of the things. Lexi brought up another point of just the safety element, being secure. And if we were talking about it, well, what if you were a mother then? What if you had little kids? And she was saying, yeah, I don't know if I would, because I would have this responsibility. I wouldn't want to endanger my kids' lives facing these giants. So kind of all gets back to this thing that, all this time's gone by and we still don't necessarily day-to-day live like we really know God's character and that we really believe that he's going to take care of us. And so from there, we talked a little bit about modern-day giants. To be honest, with that discussion, I don't really feel that the kids opened up within the group setting at Route 56 in the same way that they might with you as a parent. Talking about modern-day giants, it was kind of silly stuff that they brought up, but I think that, well, I know that they have more that's going on in their lives that's hard for them and frightening for them. That's something maybe you could build on with them. Another thing, let's see, from there would just be thinking about what God has promised and what makes it hard to rely on God. Those would be kind of three angles you could take away from this lesson if you wanted to get some good talk going about what we were learning about this week. Next week we're going to have a testimony from Rick Durestiano, so that should be pretty cool. Looking forward to filling you in a little bit on that. So have a great week. See you next week.